Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Now we're coming out on horseback. It's America's Game of the Week. Getting ready to go, and welcome to the kickoff. As the Eagles won the toss, they defer, so the Vikings will start with the football. And a matchup here in Philadelphia of the 2-2 Eagles hosting the 1-2-1 Minnesota Vikings. 82 degrees, sun is out as we are in the first week of October, and on the 7th of the month, it's week 5. And out to the 25-yard line will come the football. And we'll see the high-flying aerial attack of Kirk Cousins, who played well against the Eagles while with the Redskins. An overall record of 4-3, 2-2 here, big numbers. He's been good throwing it. The Vikings do not have a running game that they're proud of to this point. Do you think, Troy Aikman, they will try to establish that run here early?
Well, that's a good question. They are without Dalvin Cook here in this ball game, and they're facing a Eagles defense that's hard to run the football against. So I am afraid it's going to have to come down to Kirk Cousins' arm probably once again in this game.
That's Rudolph in motion. Cousins protected, fires over the middle and caught by David Morgan. Wrapped up at a gain of 5. Dalvin Cook is out. That means he's missed now 14 of a possible 21 games in his young NFL career. So inactive with the bad hamstring, and that leaves it to Latavius Murray. You see him with C.J. Ham in the backfield behind Kirk Cousins. Quick throw out on the edge. Pass caught by Diggs for a first down. Let's look at this offense for the Vikings after a gain of 7, and they're going to hurry it up. So with no time, we'll push that off until after this play. 3 straight throws to start the day. Thielen with a diving catch inside the 40. Adam Thielen with a completion and a catch of 24 yards from Kirk Cousins.
And Brandon Graham, he's able to get back into the backfield, and so Kirk Cousins really wasn't even able to set his feet the way that he would like. He just lays it out there to give Thielen a chance, and he goes and gets it. So 3 straight passes to start this game.
From their own 25-yard line, and a blink to the Eagles 39. High snap and a handoff to Rock Thomas, the rookie running back, and he's inside the 35, and a gain of 6. So there's the first run of the day. And we welcome in a new audience. That's us, Joe, Troy, Aaron, and Mike Pereira is alongside. Kind of a crazy day around the NFL, and we welcome you to America's Game of the Week. If you're just joining us, first possession of the game, and the Vikings are already inside the Eagles 35. 2nd down and 4. Play action from Cousins. Stays alive, pulls it down, and will hop out of bounds right at the marker. And they're going to mark him just short of a first down. So here's the offense for Minnesota. They're 12th overall, dead last running the football. And no team has thrown it more than the Vikings in 2018.
Well, and it's really been more out of necessity than anything else. Now, they got behind in week 2 against the Packers. They got behind again the following week against the Bills. Last Thursday night against the Rams, they just simply could not run the football. So as much as they'd like to have balance, it's been hard to come by for this Vikings offense.
Everybody near the line of scrimmage. Murray hits the hole hard and is trying to fight for the first down. And they place it down right on the line, and the signal is given by a referee, Walt Coleman, for first down.
I talked a little bit about it on that first play, Joe, when Mike Zimmer, there's no question. He's a defensive guy. He wants to run the football and play good defense. That's a whole nother story on what's happened on that side of the ball. But they have just had a hard time running the ball, and today against this Eagles defense, that's an area where they've been really good again this season.
Here's a toss to Diggs, who is in motion at the snap, and he's forced out with a nice gain of 5 yards on first down. Jalen Mills out there for the stop. This defense is the best in the NFL at defending against the run, but if there's a weak spot, it's in that secondary. Some question marks back there and an injury to their starting free safety, Rodney McLeod.
Yeah, and the Rodney McLeod injury has certainly impacted them, and they're moving a few guys through there. Corey Graham last week played every defensive snap. That's not what they want. The rookie, Avonte Maddox, he's going to get more playing time back there in that position today.
Thomas running right, cuts up field and takes it inside the 20 with another Viking first down. Roy Reynolds on the tackle, and this is about as good a start as the Vikings could have hoped for. You remember in last year's NFC Champ game, they went down the field and scored on their first possession.
That's right.
25-yard throw to Kyle Rudolph, and then 38 unanswered points later, it was the Eagles going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you threw a wet blanket on all the Vikings fans. And you said, don't get too excited.
5 straight runs after 3 passes started the day. Here's a pass to Diggs. Takes it to the inside, knocked down at the 12 by Ronald Darby. Doug Peterson wondering if his defense can make a stop. Overall record of 22-14 in the regular season, 3-0 in the postseason in his 3rd year here with Philly.
And there's John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator, in his first season here with the Vikings. I like what he's doing. He knows it's going to be hard to run the football. They've used the passing game on this opening possession like an extension of the running game. Get the ball out quick into the receiver's hands. Let him run with it.
Fake toss. Diggs looking for a block. Doesn't get it. Riley Reef was out there. He whiffed. A gain of just a couple. 3rd down coming up. Here's Carissa with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. Panthers down by 1 with 6 seconds left, and Graham Gano from 63 yards out. It's good. Panthers win this one. A back-and-forth battle, 33-31. We will see, you guys will see, the Giants on Thursday night, Joe.
They'll be hosting the Eagles. What a game that was, and that runs the Giants record to 1-4, and Barkley looked like he was hurt at the end of regulation on the touchdown. 3rd down and 2. Cousins passes, batted down, knocked out of the air by Brandon Graham, and a stop defensively for this Eagles on 3rd down.
Well, I'm a little surprised, one, that the Eagles played soft on Laquan Treadwell outside with Ronald Darby. You'd think you just run an out route, a 3-step drop, and you've got the first down, but instead they've got him on a slant. They're trying to come out to the flat. Rock Thomas, he's getting some action here early in this game. 1 carry against the Rams, and DeFilippo said he would be utilized.
Dan Bailey hits the upright. And it doesn't seem to matter who's kicking for the Vikings. Now Bailey misses a chip shot from 28 yards out. No score in Philly. Welcome back to Lincoln Financial Field. It's been an up and down day for kickers around the NFL. We saw the game winner for Graham Gano. Mason Crosby went 1 for 5 and a missed extra point, and now we see Dan Bailey miss a 28-yard chip shot.
There was a time when it was hard to find a great quarterback. Now good luck finding a consistent kicker. There's a few kickers today, like you said, that are going to be a little nervous come tomorrow morning.
For the Vikings, they just are plagued by kicking woes, from Blair Walsh to Kai Forbath. They traded up to get Daniel Carlson. They cut him after the Green Bay game. Signed Dan Bailey, the longtime Cowboy, and this one is nearly picked. Xavier Rhodes stepped in front of Alshon Jeffrey and almost had an easy one to start this game. 2nd and 10.
Well, they start a new left guard in today's game, Isaac Seumalo, who is taking the place of Stefan Wisniewski, and immediately you've got Sheldon Richardson, who goes through Seumalo, and puts the pressure on Carson Wentz.
Third game for Wentz, coming back off the torn ACL, among other ligaments. This looks like a broken play to start, and out on the edge, the catch is made as Zach Ertz hops out of bounds after a gain of 3. Over the last 9 home games, Carson Wentz has gone 9-0. But we saw him get hit on that first throw, and he's been sacked 9 times, hit a lot over his first 2 starts.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Joe, on that second down play. It was kind of broken, and the play action wasn't there in the backfield, the miscommunication between Wentz and the back, and now they want to go up tempo, and this is something that Carson Wentz likes to do.
Third down and 7, and Wentz can't spin away. And a good play made by Linval Joseph. So the opening possession for the Eagles goes backward, a loss of 15. It's 4th down.
It's right there in the middle. Seumalo already called it on the first down, and now Linval Joseph, he goes through him once again, and just not a good start, as you know. And that was a position, like we talked about, trying to clean it up, trying to eliminate some of the hits that Carson Wentz has had, and they've done a good job overall of running the football. Pass protection has been an issue, and clearly here it was on this first possession.
They start their day offensively with 3 straight throws. Here's Hughes, the rookie, on the return. Nice move, and he's down at midfield. Playing in place of the injured Marcus Sherrills, who's not active for this game. 14-yard return, and the Vikings get it right back.
Here's a look at the rookie Avonte Maddox on that punt team, and you see the job that he does working back onto the play of field after getting knocked out and fighting through the double team and able to come back in and make a play on the ball carrier. That's excellent work. And like I said earlier, he's going to be doubling up. He got a little action last week as a safety. He's primarily a corner, but he's going to see a lot more action in that secondary at the safety position this afternoon.
They fake it to Murray, and backpedaling, Cousins hits Stephon Diggs, who takes a seat at the 26. And so far, no answers for the passing game except in the red zone for this Eagles on defense, that for 24.
Well, Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, they are a tough matchup for any defense. And coming into this game in light of the problems that this secondary has had, and they had last week in that overtime loss to Tennessee, you can bet that John DeFilippo is going to continue to call the pass.
Here's a toss to another rookie, Mike Boone, running left, and he lowers his shoulder at the end of that play into the gut of Ronald Darby. Aaron Andrews, what do you have down there?
Well, you know, the Vikings will tell you they just haven't had a game where they've put it all together, and even head coach Mike Zimmer telling us this week after the Rams loss, he needs to coach smarter. But talking to guys like Kyle Rudolph, he said Zim does not need to put it on himself. It's on the players. Rudolph telling me they have the guys to turn this thing around. They just need the special teams, the offense, the defense to just put this thing on the right track.
2nd down and 8 here after a run of 2 by Boone. Quick setup and throw, and a good throw at that. It's Laquan Treadwell, who's had some trouble with drops. They're going to mark him down at the 19, a gain of 6, so 3rd and 2.
Well, he's had problems with drops. He has no problems with his uniform, though, or maybe he does. He's the only guy I know for the Vikings that wears all white socks, and I know that he's a guy who better start producing, because they picked up Aldrick Robinson, and he had 2 receptions against the Rams, both going for touchdowns, and it's only a matter of time before Laquan Treadwell is going to be replaced by him if he doesn't start to produce on the field.
Pass is thrown to Robinson and broken up on a good play by Jalen Mills, who's been under fire this week here in Philly.
Well, he sure has. He gave up some big plays. Aldrick Robinson slips a little bit coming off of that cut, and that's what allows Jalen Mills to get a hand on it. But yeah, and he's not alone, Joe. I mean, he was the victim of a lot of criticism, in some ways maybe rightfully so. He had a good year last year, but Sidney Jones, he had a tough afternoon last week also, as did Corey Graham.
Second try here for Dan Bailey. This one from 37. And after missing from 28, Dan Bailey makes it 3-0 Minnesota early here in Philly. Well, the Philadelphia defense started this day 6th best in the red zone. Opponents had taken the ball inside their 16 times. They had given up only 7 touchdowns. That holds. Vikings are 0 for 2. Their red zone trips already, getting the ball into the end zone. One missed field goal, one made field goal. And DeAndre Carter is waiting for the kick from Dan Bailey. Hard to believe this Vikings defense has taken as big a step backward as they have. Last year they were phenomenal. You round up, they gave up 16 points a game. This year 28. The passing yardage way up. The total yards per game way up. Now they still don't have their edge rusher Everson Griffin, but for the most part they're pretty much intact. In this game they don't have Trey Waynes, their starting left corner, who's out with a concussion. From the 25, it's 4 straight throws, and this one to Ertz out of bounds at the 29. And we'll look at this offense for Philadelphia, and we've already mentioned that change up front with Seumalo starting at left guard.
And this is an offensive line coming into the year that was really highly regarded, and I think that they should be, and I think that they still are. They just had some missed assignments. Not all of it's been their fault in pass protection. Some of it has been on the back. Some of it has been on Carson Wentz. But collectively, what's followed as a result of it is, as you pointed out earlier, that Wentz has been hit an awful lot.
Here's their first carry of the day. It belongs to Wendell Smallwood, and he's knocked down just short of first down yardage. How about a Browns update? Here's Carissa Thompson.
Here you go, Joey. Joe, so a minute 15 in overtime. Duke Johnson with a 15-yard gain, and this sets up Greg Joseph for a 37-yard field goal for the win. 12-9. Baker Mayfield's first official win as a starter. Joe?
How about that game-winning field goal? It looked like Mark McGuire's 62nd home run in 1998.
I could feel Greg Joseph's exhale from here when that went through the upright.
Here's a toss to Josh Adams. It is well played by Minnesota. 4th down. Anthony Barr was out there. He made the stop. And a little misdirection does not fool Mike Zimmer's defense.
No, it's a defense that pursues fast. Danielle Hunter, he's able to race him to the corner and force him to cut back in, and then the other guys show up, and Barr is there, who, he had a tough afternoon or tough evening last Thursday night, some of which was not his fault when he's being asked to cover a wide receiver all the way down the field. But he makes a nice play there, forcing another punt for the Eagles.
Cameron Johnston off to a nice start this year, hits a liner. Hughes lets it go by him, and it will be down near the 6. They're going to say it was touched back at the 9 by Avonte Maddox. 67-yard punt. Vikings have it up 3. Eagles are right back on defense as the Vikings have it backed up at their own 9-yard line. Takes a village up here. Guerrera caught over there in the corner. And all the people that help us attempt to look smarter than we actually are. First down, Minnesota up by 3. Murray right side gets 2. I thought it was interesting that John DeFilippo, who's pictured there, said, yeah, everybody expects us to get the running game going. Our head coach wants us to get the running game going. But when you look at Philadelphia, the path to success is not running the football against the Eagles.
No, and he said it best. He said, hey, I got 2 Ferraris on the outside with Thielen and Diggs, and I'm not going to bang my head against Fletcher Cox trying to run the ball in the middle and do something just for the sake of doing it. So fully expect Kirk Cousins to turn it loose.
This one for Diggs. He's overshot. Strong Philadelphia roots for John DeFilippo. He attended Radnor High School, which is 13 miles west of Philly, a quarterback of the football team, class of '96. His dad, Gene, was the AD at Villanova in the mid-'90s. And he was the Eagles quarterbacks coach the previous 2 years for Doug Peterson, the man on the right, and he is missed in these parts.
Well, he sure was. I mean, there's Nick Foles. A lot of players, a lot of coaches came over to say hello to him, and I know that he's missed. Frank Reich's the head coach in Indianapolis, but that's a changed room in that quarterback room.
Treadwell makes a nice grab as he had to reach for it. Forward progress to the 20. And it looks like they'll give Laquan Treadwell enough for a first down. Sidney Jones with the stop and a good second effort. He picked it up.
He had to go get that from here. It looked like he was maybe a little bit short. Kirk Cousins getting a little pressure on him, and that's a nice job by Treadwell going up and making a play on the ball, knowing what he had to do and picking up the first down.
Can't believe you're making fun of his socks.
I'm not. I am just saying he's the only one wearing all white socks.
There's Murray. Runs into Brandon Graham and able to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage. Here are the numbers. It's not good. Dalvin Cook's not even active for this game. Another game missed for Dalvin, and he leads this team, Troy, with under 100 yards rushing. That's hard to believe through 4 weeks.
Yeah, it is, and as dominant as he was prior to injuring his knee last year, but like I said, they've had to get away from the running game some because of the way the games have gone, but then last week against the Rams, they just simply couldn't do it.
Pressure on Cousins, and down he goes. It's Graham again. His first of the year. But he's been active here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, it's Brandon Graham's first sack, like you said, but he has been around the quarterback through the first 4 weeks. He's an excellent player, and he just works right around Rashad Hill, the right tackle, and really nowhere then for Kirk Cousins to go. There's no place for him to really step up because there's a good push by that Eagles defensive front. That's a great job collectively by that four-man rush.
He had a team-high 9.5 sacks a year ago for the world champion Eagles, who trail by 3 on America's Game of the Week. Back after this from your local Fox station.
Look at this 3rd and 13, and you ask yourself, what is Jim Schwartz going to do? Typically, he's a four-man rush defensive coordinator this year, especially last week. He's brought more pressure. It looks like he's going to play coverage here, and let's see what John DeFilippo decides to do backed up. Knowing that these guys are capable of getting after the quarterback, I would sure think something safe and quick. Get it out of his hands quickly.
C.J. Ham back there alongside Cousins. Four-man rush, passes underneath to Rudolph, and with a flag down. Back in the area where Cousins went down. Rudolph was short of the first down. This is the first flag of the game. Let's see.
Illegal use of hands, hands in the face, number 74, offense. At the distance of the goal. The penalty will be declined. 4th down.
Well, that's Mike Remmers, the right guard, and look over here though, Fletcher Cox, 91. They're going to work 2 guys. They're going to work the center and the guard. He's double teamed, and yet he still comes around, and he's the one who puts the hit on Kirk Cousins. The hold's there, 74, right up to the headgear. And Mike Remmers, he has had a tough start to this season. He has really struggled, and last week was especially tough on him.
Carter waits for the punt from Weil. And shanked it. It takes a Vikings roll down inside the 35, but that was ugly but useful. 44-yard punt. And it stops untouched at the 33. Saturday, Minnesota's gunning for a huge upset when they take on Dwayne Haskins and the number 3 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. It all starts at noon Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. You were giving my Hoosiers trouble, and you called it on Thursday. I mean, they played Ohio State tough like they usually do.
They do.
It's a one-score game in the third quarter, and then bang, it's over.
I know how it works, and my Bruins are 0-5. I mean, I understand the heartbreak. But how about the game yesterday with the Sooners and the Longhorns? That was a great game on Fox, and Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson getting to call that one. Of course, Mike Pereira, you were there in Dallas as well. Welcome to Philly.
Decent starting field position. Extra offensive lineman in the game for Philly and Vaitai. Wentz airs it out. And what an adjustment for the catch, Gibson. Brilliant catch for 48.
Pretty good coverage there by the rookie Mike Hughes as well. You're going to see him. He's running with Gibson the entire way. He's just unable to come back and try to make a play on the ball, and Gibson just goes up and gets it. That's a great job, and that's what has really hurt this Vikings defense. They have given up a number of big plays here through the first 4+ games.
Here's Ajayi. Hello, Sendejo. That is the first catch of the year for Shelton Gibson, and it brings about the first down for the Eagles in this game.
That's great concentration. Hughes is trying to get his hand on the ball, and it's just a matter of a receiver going up and making a play. But yeah, last Thursday night, the Rams in that game alone had 7 completions of over 20 yards. And when you look at this defense, that's just something that was hard to come by a year ago. And they've given up far too many, and ultimately those big plays lead to points, which this one will as well.
2nd and 8. Pass is to Goddard. Gain of 5. Pretty good velocity there from Carson Wentz. Let's go for a game break. Here's Carissa.
Joe, Rams trailing 7-0 in Seattle when Todd Gurley does what he does best from 2 yards out. His league-leading 7th touchdown of the year, all tied up in Seattle at 7. Joe, Troy, in the air.
Now, this is an area where they really struggled. The Eagles did, and they were 1 for 4 in the red zone, and they've got to cash in when they get down here. This has been an area this season where they've not lived up to what they did last year.
It cost him in that overtime loss at Tennessee, and here's a drop by Wendell Smallwood. Smith was out there, but Smallwood had the yardage for a first down and just missed it.
They split him out wide. They've got what they want. Just make the catch, and it's a first down and a new set of downs. And instead, after the big catch by Gibson, they're having to settle for 3 points.
And a 30-yard try by Jake Elliott. So another missed chance inside the red zone, and Elliott, who is perfect under 40 yards this season, struggled in this range a year ago, knocks it through. And it's a 3-3 game. 12:24 left in the first half. Free game with 12:24 in the first half for the Eagles. 48 of their 51 yards so far today came on the one play on the completion down this near sideline to Shelton Gibson. The other 9 plays have produced 3 yards. They had a drop a moment ago in the red zone, which forced the field goal try, and Jake Elliott was good from 30. To hop into the end zone, so out to the 25 it comes. A cancer diagnosis can come at any time, but regardless of the type of cancer, you can be prepared to fight it. The NFL and the American Cancer Society are continuing their longtime partnership on Crucial Catch. to help the nation play offense against all types of cancer. Visit NFL.com/crucialcatch to learn more and to complete the Defender for personalized tips on reducing your cancer risk.
Well, Riley Reiff, he has left the game, so they've taken the right tackle, Rashad Hill, and they've moved him to the left side, and they've brought in the rookie, Brian O'Neill, in at right tackle. So 2 positions affected by Reiff leaving the game.
Bad ankle is the word from the sideline. And Aaron, here's a pass that's complete. Dangerous throw to the fullback C.J. Ham. Decent coverage and a gain of 7.
Yeah, that was a bit dangerous, trying to come back, and anything can happen once you start rolling out to the right, throwing back to the middle. And C.J. Ham, I like this guy from what I've seen. He's not used a whole lot. He's primarily a blocker when he does come in, but he catches the ball pretty well. You don't see a lot of those guys in the game today, the fullback position.
2nd down and 3. Cousins has found 6 different receivers. He's found Stephon Diggs a lot. What a good couple of moves for a 1st down. That was brilliant.
Well, it sure was. And, you know, the Eagles, they read it pretty good, and they stacked Diggs so they can get the ball in his hands, and Treadwell trying to pick a guy and decide which one's the most dangerous. Is it Darby or is it Jones? And it looked like they had him bottled up for no gain, and he shows some of the skills that he has. And you know, you look at these receivers. I talked about Thielen and Diggs. Diggs was a 5th-round pick. Thielen was undrafted. And these guys are 2 of the best route runners. You've heard me say it before, Joe. 2 of the best route runners in the game today. They're fun to watch, and they're pretty dynamic once they have the ball in their hands.
Here's a handoff to Murray, and he is spun forward for a couple. There's an awareness to Diggs that is on another level. I mean, if you think back to that playoff game against the Saints, it was right in front of us. We're calling that. He makes the catch. The play started with 10 seconds left. He had enough yardage to get a field goal try away, and he spins around. There's nobody there. He takes it into the end zone instead of just automatically hopping out of bounds.
Well, that's a play that Vikings fans will remember forever. It was tremendous, and we had the pleasure of being there to call it.
Most thrilling moment I've seen since '94 in a Fox NFL booth. Here's a handoff to Diggs, and it looked a little something like this. Keenum steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs, sideline, touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
It was really pretty great, Joe, because when he went up and caught it, you could tell all he wanted to do was secure the catch and make sure he was in bounds. I think he was as surprised as anybody when there was nobody there tackling him. He turns around and he's got a clean shot right to the end zone.
Diggs just ran it for 20, and now it's Murray who has a 1st down carry inside the 30. And the Vikings are saying, who says you can't run against this Philadelphia defense? That one good for 12.
Well, Remmers, look at the job that he does. Pushes here, pushes out, and then you've got the rookie Brian O'Neill. So that's a heck of a lane right there in the middle. That's excellent work by Remmers. He helps the rookie secure that block. Then he comes up to Jordan Hicks and gets the linebacker, and that's the way they draw it up on the board.
Corey Graham, who was in for every snap defensively a week ago at Tennessee, just limped off. Now getting a lot of work at safety with the injury to Rodney McLeod. That one is just rolled back there, and a handoff to Rock Thomas. That was an ugly start, and Thomas lost a yard.
Yeah, that was Pat Elflein, the 2nd-year center, and it just slips right out of his hands. And those normally don't turn out even that good. And he lost a yard on the play, but
man,
Rock Thomas, he's been getting some carries. That was his 3rd carry. It didn't help him, but he's been the one guy prior to this drive who's had some success. Murray had the nice run the play before. Here they come.
Diggs flinched.
False start, number 14, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
When you talk about Pat Elflein, it's his second start of the season. He broke his ankle here in that NFC Championship game on the 21st of January, which must seem like 5 years ago to these two clubs. Two different starting quarterbacks in this game compared to that one, and two teams, neither one of which is over 500.
Yeah, and both teams a little desperate, in desperate need of a victory.
Second and 16, little double pump, and a big hit is made out on the edge on Rock Thomas by Ronald Darby. Third down coming up.
Ronald Darby, one of these cover corners who is not shy about coming up and hitting the running back or hitting the wide receiver. He's cluing the quarterback, and as soon as the ball was completed, he was on his way, and that's a good job. So here we are, third and long.
Darby got hurt delivering that hit, came off to the sideline with his shoulder hanging. Third down and 10.
We got Rasul Douglas into the game for him.
Pressure. Cousins backpedaling, incomplete, with Thielen the closest to it. So on comes Dan Bailey for his third attempt of the game.
Yeah, so I talked about Jim Schwartz. Last year, he just did not bring pressure very often, but here this year he has, and he's brought more six-man pressures, and that's what they did on this play, and they're just not going to allow the quarterback to get comfortable in the pocket. And so even though the Vikings have moved the ball here in this first half, they've had a hard time cashing in.
45-yard try. And another miss. Mike Zimmer was so relieved to get a sure-footed veteran kicker. He's 1 for 3 in a key game here in Week 5. Well, this has been the land of missed opportunity for the Vikings. 4 drives, 3 have ended in Philadelphia territory. They've been in the red zone twice, and they have 3 points. Dan Bailey, for the 5th time in his career, has missed 2 field goals in a game. I mean, he was automatic in the NFC for the Cowboys. Justin Tucker is the standard setter with the Ravens, but then there was Dan Bailey, and he had a bad year last year, was hurt, bad groin, and then cut in a surprise move by Dallas. Not a good start here today. Wentz, well protected, and fires a strike. Aguilar. Back to the miss by Bailey.
It's hard to believe how quickly, he's lost whatever it was that he once had. Like you talked about, Joe, he was Mr. Consistent. People were, even with last year, in the struggles that he had at the end of last season for the Cowboys, they were shocked in Texas when they let him go for the young kicker in the final cuts, and yet it seems to be the right move as far as what's happened to him here in Minnesota, because he has really struggled.
And Brett Maher has looked good in Dallas. That was just the second first down for the Eagles in this half, and Ajayi makes the catch. Harrison Smith makes the tackle in a gain of 5.
Well, it just kind of shows you, what Carson Wentz can do when he has a little bit of time. That ball was thrown on a rope. A lot of confidence. He was able to step into his throw, and I think people forget, Joe, that he got hurt in December. He rehabbed all offseason. They missed all preseason. So this just being his 3rd game, and it does take a little bit of time to get comfortable in the pocket, but that hasn't been able to happen because of the pressure that he's been under through the first 2 weeks.
Here's a toss to Ajayi off the right side, and he is knocked down close to first down yardage. And they're going to give it to him. Jalen Holmes, the rookie from Ohio State, who's getting to play because Tashawn Bauer is out. Everson Griffin is out, so they're getting to the 2nd and 3rd level of the depth chart on this Vikings defense up front.
Yeah, and they do miss Everson Griffin, and as Vikings fans know, and no one knows when he might come back, but he is a difference maker when he's on the field for this unit.
toss to a wide open tight end, and that's the rookie Goddard, who the Eagles took right before the Cowboys pick. Dallas wanted a tight end. The Eagles already had Zach Ertz, and like Al Davis in years gone by against a division rival, they got the guy that the Cowboys really wanted.
Yeah, and he was named after the Dallas Cowboys because his father was such a big fan. But he's a young player who has a lot of ability. He's still kind of learning his way around, and he's not playing at the same speed he did in college. He just needs to get a little more acclimated with the playbook, but ran a good route on that play.
Ball's out, picked up by the Vikings. Joseph, can he win this long foot race? Linval Joseph, no flags, touchdown Minnesota. "63 yards. And it goes down as a sack and a fumble at the moment.
Hey, how good has Weatherly been filling in for Everson Griffin? And he starts with an outside rush. He comes underneath on Lane Johnson and is able to knock the ball loose. And for Linval Joseph to be the guy who catches it in the air and rumbles and stumbles all the way for a touchdown, that's a moment he's never going to forget.
A sack, a fumble, so no throw, no interception. And the 63-yard return for big number 98.
Get him some oxygen.
On America's Game of the Week, Vikings lead by 7. Well, maybe Mike Zimmer is rediscovering his defense and the guys on the defensive side doing what the offense hasn't been able to do. Get it into the end zone, officially 64 yards. And the first career touchdown for Linval Joseph, who won a Super Bowl with the Giants back in 2011.
Yeah, that's so good. He's been one of my favorite players. I think he's a really underrated guy. He's a good pass rusher. He's good against the run, and that was pretty fun stuff for him.
Here's DeAndre Carter, just able to cross the 25, and it was Weatherly, as you noted, who made this play happen.
Yeah, and you're going to see the move that he makes on Lane Johnson, and Lane Johnson gave up a strip sack last week that cost the Eagles, but Linval Joseph to be able to catch that and then go the distance, 64 yards, and these guys dream of getting into the end zone, and what's their end zone celebration going to be? Initially it didn't look like he had much, but he's trying to get these guys off of him, and then he goes to Neil Smith, the home run swing with a kiss to the Philadelphia Eagle fans. How about the sunglasses to go along with the oxygen? I don't know where the sunglasses got pulled out from.
Like they were ready for it.
That was part of the celebration.
Wentz going to take off, and they hold their breath here in Philly with a put together knee as Eric Kendricks is there after an 8-yard run. Back to Joseph over on the bench, and here you go. Plays with a shade on his face mask. And over there, shades on, oxygen mask followed shortly thereafter. Water, and then back to work.
Well, he's taking a breather. He's not in. He's not in this series defensively. He's still on the oxygen.
And that'll be on Jason Peters.
False start, number 71, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Let's go to Kurt Menefee with a game break.
I'm out of breath watching Joseph try to catch his. Hey, maybe a breathtaking play from Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett, wide open. 39 yards on the score, and the highest scoring team in the league, the Rams, trying to play catch-up at Seattle, down 14-10 midway through the second. Hey, that causes a celebration. Jump rope, double dutch. Let's go. Joe, Troy.
All right, Kurt. Yeah, the Seahawks haven't quit. They climbed to 500, and they're leading at home over the 4-0 Rams. 2nd and 7. Harrison Smith coming on a blitz. This one is thrown out of bounds toward Jeffrey.
This is what teams have done against Carson Wentz. You know, in the 2 games prior to this, they're just bringing pressure. Here's Harrison Smith. He's coming off the edge, and they bring linebackers, and they're bringing extra rushers, and they're just testing the knee, and they're forcing him to have to move and get the ball out of his hands. And as we've said, and he has taken a lot of punishment. He sacked 9 times coming into this game, but he had been hit a lot more than that. Here's a look at all that's happened to him.
Already hit 5 times, 3rd and 7. Boy, this is ugly.
False start, number 86, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
They call it against Zach Ertz. They could have picked any one of 5 guys. That was just, they're just off. We saw them in the preseason, Troy, at Cleveland, and they had Nick Foles at quarterback, and the #1 offense hadn't scored any points. And well, we'll wait till the season opener, and they barely squeaked by Atlanta. And now they get Wentz back for his 3rd game. They're really searching for it here early.
Yeah, you can tell in all the games, and again today, that they just have not hit their stride. And now to be backed up against this defense that is awfully good on 3rd down.
Wentz steps through trouble, finds a man, and it's off the hands of Jeffrey to bring up 4th down. Tell you, Wentz, to me at least, is doing all he can, but not getting a whole lot of help as he had to step through pressure. And off the hands of Jeffrey, incomplete.
Yeah, he's constantly been having to move. You know, the one throw, like we showed, that he was able to step into the throw and had a clean pocket. He drilled the strike, and he's good at throwing from different platforms. That one was a little bit off. Alshon Jeffrey, who finally returned last week, that's been a bit of a problem for them with all the injuries they've had. Had a big day, but unable to make the play.
Line drive punt. A chance for a return by Zylstra. Good starting field position after a 9-yard return up at the 44, and we'll be right back after this from Pizza Hut and Fox. You know the story with the Vikings getting blown out here in the champ game last January. They gave a 3-year, $84 million guaranteed deal to Kirk Cousins, who's averaged over 300 yards passing in 7 previous games against the Eagles, competing in the NFC East with Washington. This one over the middle. Pass is caught by Rudolph, and he takes it into Philadelphia territory, a gain of 7.
Yeah, the first of its kind, a fully guaranteed contract. That's pretty good, and with that come a lot of expectations, and he's obviously thrown the ball very well, but the turnovers have plagued him, more specifically the fumbles, and it got them behind in the Buffalo game, and then last week against the Rams, down by 7 with over 2 minutes to play and 2 timeouts. 3 plays later, a stripped fumble again, and you know they're paying him a lot of money to win those types of games, and this one included. This is an important ball game for both these teams, but especially the Vikings, where they find themselves.
Brian O'Neill may have gotten away with a false start out there on the offensive line.
This is the 2-minute warning.
But that will take us to the 2-minute warning in a 13-point total half. The big man, Linval Joseph, from the home run swing to the kisses in Philly with his Vikings up 7. 2 minutes left in this first half. 2nd down and 3 for the Vikings. Come in at 1-2-1. Ronald Darby is back out there for the Eagles. We're told that Corey Graham is okay. He's on the sideline watching. Play action from Cousins out to his right, throws back to Thielen, who makes a dive, and he's short of the first down by 1.
Well, we'll see what the Vikings are able to do and whether or not they're able to convert here and what might happen, but this is a drive that began on their 44-yard line, and it's a great opportunity for them with good field position to come away with some points before the end of this half.
What a job by Cousins to duck the rush and find Thielen for the first down. A gain of 3 on 3rd and 1, and let's see who came through. It looked like Chris Long.
Well, I think Rock Thomas is supposed to come over and pick him up, and no, he was going out the entire way. And it's usually when you turn a guy loose like that, like Chris Long, it's off of some type of play action, but it didn't slow him down at all. Kirk Cousins, he's like a matador there, being able to avoid Long and pick up the first down.
Talk about a team and a quarterback that needed a good game today. The Steelers got just that in a big-time win at home over Atlanta. You saw Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster the day for Big Ben, 19 of 29, 250, 3 touchdowns and a pick, and a 41-17 win. Here's Treadwell. He makes the catch on first down as the Vikings used their first timeout a moment ago. That one good for 7.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins, when they have thrown the ball on first down, he is 7 for 7 on first down here in this first half. He's done a nice job keeping them ahead of the chains. They just have had a hard time running the football as we expected coming in.
Here's an open receiver. That's Thielen. He's got another first down. The Vikings and Kirk Cousins have been able, at least over the middle part of the field, to move the ball pretty much at will.
Yeah, it's one of those Ferraris that D. Filippo was talking about out there on the outside at wide receiver, Thielen and Diggs, and he gets Sidney Jones turned around, who is basically in his rookie season. He was injured all of last year, came back week 17, and he's been through some of the growing pains as a first-year player.
Cousins at 81% throwing it. Add to that, here's Diggs. Takes 3 guys to bring him down. Timeout taken again by the Vikings. They have 1 left. Let's find out from Kurt what's coming your way at halftime.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Chargers try to close out the Raiders, and we will shut the door on all the early games. Get to the door. Hey, these guys will have your back even if they don't have mine. Hey, let me in. It's all coming up on the Visa halftime if I get back inside. Hello, TB. Help.
Bill Richards and crew always coming up with something different to promote halftime, and we'll see if Kurt gets back in. 2nd down and 5 for Minnesota. I mean, they've missed a couple of field goals, but it's been a really good half for the Vikings.
Yeah, they've moved the ball, and points are hard to come by against defenses like this. They need to just cash in when they can.
Here's what the Eagles needed, but a flag is thrown, and we'll see if it's for the hit on Cousins. Michael Bennett got home, and Bennett pleading his case.
Personal foul, rubbing the passer, number 77, defense. Back the distance of the goal. First down.
Got to see whether or not he was blocked in. You're going to see him here. He's on the outside. It's Kyle Rudolph who's blocking him, and you know, it's the crowd certainly doesn't like it. I think it's a good call that he was kind of stumbling, if you will, a little bit. I don't know that Rudolph really blocked him into him so much as him just going low, and you know, if there's any doubt whatsoever, they're going to get the call.
Mike?
You know, I got to tell you, to me, did the block really push him into it? I think it did. I mean, with the hands on the back, you know, to me, not much he can do in that situation when he's pushed.
Crowd hates the call. Week after week, it seems like there's 1 or 2 that's talked about until the next round of games, as Rudolph is forced out inside the 5.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Mike. It just looked to me like he was losing his balance and going low more so than the actual block. I mean, I think, you know, if you're an Eagles fan, you're against the call. If you're a Vikings fan, you're for it.
Mike?
Might even ask if it was really forcible, if he wrapped and really just took him to the ground.
That's a good point.
So another call to file away. It hurts the Eagles, helps the Vikings. 2nd down and 2 as it took a sack off the board. Now Thielen in the end zone with a flag for the touchdown. And it's a hold against the Eagles. The touchdown will stand. What a throw by Cousins.
Unbelievable throw. Not bad coverage by Ronald Darby, and Thielen with a good move there. There's the
holding.
hold.
Number 21, defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
That's really a great job of playing through the hold by Thielen, and what a throw by Kirk Cousins. That is perfect, and Thielen taps his feet, gets him down, and with great field position to start this drive on the 44-yard line, they take it in for the touchdown here before the half. That's great work.
Cousins has been terrific. 20 of 24. Bad call that goes against the Eagles. Takes the sack away, and this crowd is livid. Here's the touchdown.
Yeah, really good stuff. They go play action, and Bennett, who is obviously very upset about the call against him, and he immediately is looking for a flag, which you always do when you even take a quarterback to the ground. But just outstanding execution. You go play action like that to try to certainly affect some of the coverage, but also usually play action will secure the protection a little bit better. That time Bennett still able to get the big hit, but not before he delivers a perfect ball.
Because of that call against Bennett, instead of 3rd and long with a sack of Cousins, it was 1st and 10 on the 11, and the Vikings, with a beautiful play, score the touchdown 2 plays later.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should be surprised by the call. I mean, from what we have seen through the first part of this year with hits on quarterback, anything low, they're going to make. I'm not saying it was the right call. To me, it looked like the right call. It didn't seem to me that he was blocked into it so much as he was losing his footing, but they're going to call that every time.
DeAndre Carter on the return, can't get to the 25. Brought down by Eric Wilson. Here's the play again. That because of the low hit by Bennett, as he's stumbling going down, instead of 3rd and long, 2 plays later, this beauty from Cousins perfectly dropped into Adam Thielen.
He's made a lot of good throws through the first 4.5 weeks of this season. And hey, I'll also say John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator, I think he's tried to maintain some balance and run the football more so than he's been able to in other weeks, and they really haven't had much to show for it. So I don't know that they are going to be able to hang with it a whole lot longer as they move through this game.
Handoff is to Ajayi, and that'll end the first half as Weatherly makes the stop, and this crowd upset. The Eagles will get the ball to start the second half, and they have a lot to figure out in the locker room after a disappointing first 30 minutes. The play of the first half is presented by DirecTV. More for your thing. That's our thing. And it's the play. The hit by Weatherly. The return of 64 yards by Linval Joseph. Frustrating day for Wentz and company. And it's 17-3 at the half. Here's Kurt in LA. Visa halftime right now. That was today's Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. We're going to go back and talk about that Michael Bennett hitting the call during the second half, not right now. Right now, we need to talk about Philly's offense. They got to figure something out here.
Well, it's been a good defensive battle. You know, they give up 7 points with the Linval Joseph return, and they get the ball to start this second half. The Eagles do, and they've not been able to get the running game going. That's the one thing they've actually done a pretty good job of coming into this game, but they faced a really motivated defensive unit in the Vikings, and they're winning the line of scrimmage. So we'll see what they're able to do in terms of protecting Carson Wentz, because they just simply have not been able to do it.
Here is DeAndre Carter. Made the most out of that. Gets it up to the 27. Aaron Andrews, what did you learn down there?
Well, I walked back with the Eagles to their locker room, and as you can imagine, players were screaming about that call on Michael Bennett. And I asked Doug Peterson, what do you say to your team? And he said, look, it's tough. This is the way they're calling it now in the league, and you just have to accept it. I asked him what's missing for his offense right now, and he said, I don't know, but something is, and we need to get inside this locker room and figure it out. He felt like his team was moving the ball, but he said fluke plays where, you're sacking the quarterback and returning a fumble for a touchdown is killing us.
That, by the way, Aaron, was the 26th fumble in 32 career games for Carson Wentz. Starting from the 27, here's Ajayi, and maybe the ground game can get a little momentum for Philadelphia. We are thankful every week to have Mike Pereira with us. Here's that call against Michael Bennett that would have been a sack. Mike Pereira went for a roughing the passer call against Bennett, and your thoughts again on what we just saw.
Well, the more I see it, the more I don't like it, because if there's any force, it's actually in the rear area. Then he slides down, wrapped around the feet of the quarterback, and he falls over him. So to me, it's just not a foul.
Certainly a big call at the end of that first half. Here's a good move by Ajayi, and then he slams into the rookie Hughes. What a good tackle by Mike Hughes, and a loss of 4 on the play.
I'll just follow up on that. And hey, I played quarterback in this league, and I certainly understand it. I wish that they had these protection rules back when I was playing. I would have played a lot longer and suffered a lot fewer injuries. And yeah, I think Doug Peterson said it best, that this is the way that they're calling things, and so that clearly had an impact on this game. It's going to be talked about throughout the week as to whether it should have been or should not have been, but you just hate when week after week, game after game, we're seeing penalties and no one can really agree on that are having huge impacts on the outcome.
Here's a throw for a first down, and the first third down conversion, Wendell Smallwood. Eagles have been 0 for 4 on third down, and that's a big 23 yards.
It sure is, and pretty good protection up front. You're going to see Wentz, he slides, and as Smallwood gets through the line of scrimmage, they turn him loose. And the Vikings have done that. They've been pretty good here today, but they have turned people loose within their coverages, and that's why they've given up some of the plays they have up to this point in the year.
Here is a handoff to Smallwood, who just made that catch. Knocked down by Harrison Smith, and the Eagles have it moving now. Good for 13. Aaron, what did you learn from Mike Zimmer?
Well, obviously that was before this half. He was happy with his defense in the first half. He felt like that was more like it for them. Good coverage, making the Eagles hold on to the ball. He also said for their offense, he was happy with the way they were trying to run the ball. He goes, but you know me, I could be happier, run it more. As for Dan Bailey, he said, I don't understand what's going on. This guy never misses in practice.
Here's a toss to Ajayi running right. Nice lane to run through, and he gets 9.
That's pretty funny by Zim. I don't know about you, Joe, but I don't hit bad shots on the driving range either. To get on the course, and man, I can't keep a ball in play.
You do know about me, and you do know that I'm right there with you.
No, that is not true.
4 runs, 1 pass to start this second half against Mike Zimmer's defense for Philly's offense.
Yeah, and then you take the pressure off this passing game and this offensive line. So they, like I said, they had really struggled to get anything going on the ground, but this drive, they've opened up some holes and have done a good job.
Back to Ajayi. Flag is down. Ajayi's got a first down for the moment.
Illegal formation on the offense. Number 19 covered up the tight end. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Saw that movement pre-snap. The flag came shortly thereafter, and so that will cost a first down for a moment. Back to the 30. It's second down and 6.
Well, they picked up the first down, and Doug Peterson talked about it the other day, and they just shoot themselves in the foot. That could be a big penalty.
Pass is caught. Big hit. Hughes, the rookie who's been flying around, as Aguilar is back to that previous spot now, but it's 3rd down and 1 instead of 2nd and 1 as Wendell Smallwood gets wrapped up on the sideline.
Yeah, and I would think that Doug Peterson, with the score 17-3 down here, you know, knowing him, this is 4-down territory.
He's not scared.
Far from it.
Proved that all last year, and especially in Super Bowl 52. Wentz, Ertz, we'll never know. 1st down inside the 20. A gain of 8 on 3rd and 1, and Philadelphia's come out with a little jump to their step.
That was a well-designed play there on 3rd and short. They're going to read this guy here, and he collapses and pulls it out, and then he's able to get the ball to Ertz for an easy 1st down on the edge.
Ajayi trying to find some room, and it's with a flag down. Ajayi for 6.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face, number 91, defense. A penalty will be added to the end of the play. 1st down.
That'll set up 1st and goal.
Here's 91, Stephen Weatherly. He's the guy who caused the fumble earlier that Linval Joseph got and scored on the touchdown, and he's going up against Lane Johnson there at the right tackle position. So we're going to move it a little bit closer. Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach for the Eagles, he must have had a conversation with this offensive line and got them a little motivated, because they have really run the ball well to open up this 2nd half.
Ajayi carries, and ball is out. Vikings say they have it, and they do. And this promising drive for the Philadelphia Eagles comes to a crashing end with Jay Ajayi putting it on the ground. Looked like he lost it before Kendricks got there. Vikings have it, up 14. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Up above, down below, there is some heartache. Ajayi fumbled 4 times last year, regular and postseason. The Eagles have the most fumbles in the NFL with 13 now, 7 of them lost. With the Eagles moving in with a 1st and goal, Ajayi puts it on the ground. This one is to Thielen. What a throw and catch. And in the open field, Adam Thielen spins down inside the 30. That is 68 yards on the first play after the fumble.
Pretty incredible, too. Fletcher Cox is right in the face of Kirk Cousins, and somehow he's still able to get the ball out. And Jalen Mills, who was victimized last week in that loss to Tennessee, he gives up a big play with the offense backed up, taking a shot. And what a play by Cousins to get that out and on the money.
Well, that's history for Adam Thielen, this undrafted player out of Minnesota State. That is 5 straight 100-plus yard days receiving to start the year. That has never happened in the history of the league. Adam Thielen, big play. Adam Thielen becomes the first player in NFL history to have 5 straight 100-plus yard receiving days to begin the year. He had been tied with Hall of Famer Randy Moss and a guy who you can make a strong case to be a Hall of Famer, Isaac Bruce. Coming into the day, he's already over 100. Here's one down the seam, and that's Diggs to the 2. And so close to yet another score from Kirk Cousins.
Well, Diggs comes off the ball. He runs an excellent route. He gets him turned around, Sidney Jones. But look what Kirk Cousins does. He pumps to the right to get the safety to move just enough to open up the lane and try to avoid a collision. The free safety in the middle overran it. Diggs had a free shot at catching the ball uncontested.
Cousins has been outstanding. Here's Rock Thomas swallowed up in the backfield.
Well, what a change of events. I mean, you've got Jay Ajayi who fumbles the ball when they're going in to score and to make this a one-possession game, and then all of a sudden one play later, without anybody touching it, just came out of his hands. And one play later, you're going to see Kirk Cousins hanging in the pocket, taking a big-time hit. And a double move on the outside by Adam Thielen gets Jalen Mills to bite. That's great execution, and Kirk Cousins has been on fire.
2nd and goal. Cousins protected pass to Treadwell, broken up. Out on the edge, it was Mills in coverage who got his hand in there, but it's been the double move that's been his undoing through 4+ games now.
Yeah, and then as a corner, I can tell you start to lose confidence. And last year he played well and did a nice job for them. And once quarterbacks and offensive coordinators, smell blood in the water, they're coming after you, and they're going to keep throwing in your direction, and it's hard to withstand that. Here he is right here at the bottom on Kyle Rudolph.
Cousins rolls that way. Pass is broken up, and Mills made the play on Thielen. And the two of them go face to face. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz said that I am firmly behind Jalen Mills as a corner, and followed that up with one of the biggest reasons why we had a big parade on Broad Street after the Super Bowl win was Jalen Mills. It's been a struggle. He made a couple of plays there at the end of this drive to force the field goal try. And this one is good. Bailey 2 out of 4 on the day, and it's 20-3 here in Philadelphia. Ajayi put it on the ground with his Eagles going in, and the Vikings turned it in to 3 points. Welcome back to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, where the Vikings are having all the fun so far, leading by 17. It's America's Game of the Week. Adam Thielen with another huge game. The numbers just keep piling up for that undrafted receiver out of Minnesota State. DeAndre Carter will bring it. Full head of steam and tripped up short of the 25.
Go back to that big play on here's where the 3rd down when they had to settle for the field goal. Jalen Mills and a lot of jawing going on, and even amongst the Eagles themselves. You're going to have Fletcher Cox and Jalen Mills. They go at it, and I think Fletcher Cox just wants him to get over the sidelines after giving up that big play. And they had another talk over on the sidelines and, made amends with everything. But a lot of frustration with all those players on how this season has started out.
Made up at the end of it, but Mills has had a rough start to the season. From the 23, that's a false start on Aguilar.
False start, number 13, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
I just want to make a comment about where these two teams sit in their divisions. Anybody who says this is a must-win game for either one of these two teams isn't paying attention to the other teams in those divisions. Nobody's going to run away with either one of the North or the East. This is not a must-win game, but for Philadelphia, the must is they must get something going rhythm-wise on offense. And after the false start, an incompletion for Zach Ertz.
That's hard. Offensive football is it's rhythm, it's momentum and tempo and confidence. And when you're off by that much, which has been the case for this offense throughout the year, it is really challenging because every play becomes when you're really rolling as an offense, you're not even looking at down and distance as a quarterback. You're just reading the defense and making throws. And I made the golf analogy earlier. It's a lot like that as a golfer. When you're really playing well, you're not thinking about anything other than just hitting good shots. And when you're struggling, everything becomes hard.
2nd and 15. Pass is behind Ertz. There's a flag in the secondary, and Ertz hops out of bounds with a big first down for the moment. Eagles utilize their tight ends in the pass game more than any other team. Here's a call.
Holding, number 20, defense. Penalties decline. Play results in a first down.
Well, that's on Mackenzie Alexander, number 20. They get him holding Alshon Jeffrey, and then here's the route by Ertz. And just a shallow crosser and in the zone, and they turn him loose. But that's a good start for them. They get the first down and see what they can do. They had the momentum to start this second half, and the fumble just took the air right out of them.
Wentz keeps, throws, Jeffrey inside Viking territory to the 35. And here come the Eagles right back, a gain of 31.
So good by Carson Wentz. Again, I've been saying it throughout this game. He's got people in his face, but Alshon Jeffrey, he just sits down. Nobody's there in the middle. He gives Wentz a target, but they bring Harrison Smith off the edge, and immediately there they are right in his lap. But he's able to find Jeffrey and deliver a good ball.
That's the first catch for Alshon Jeffrey after his best day as an Eagle statistically last week at Tennessee. Jason Peters checked out after that last play. Vaitai is in at left tackle. They won the Super Bowl with Vaitai at left tackle. Aguilar makes the catch at the 15.
Well, they go trips to the field, and the Vikings are playing coverage. There's 2 deep safeties, and so Wentz is going to work that side. Instead of trying to go back, he's got a single receiver to the top, and they turn Aguilar loose to the boundary, and now they're starting to look like something.
Couple of possessions, they've been able to move it. Last time fumbled at the 5, first down at the 15.
Going blitz here with Harrison Smith.
He backs out. Wentz in trouble. Down he goes. Danielle Hunter. 5th sack of the year for number 99.
We were talking to Mike Zimmer last week, and he said if Danielle Hunter could ever develop an inside move, he'll be unstoppable. Well, he just developed one, because he, instead of the speed rush around the edge, he comes underneath and does a great job. They got Vaitai in there, and it's just no matchup.
So with Peters on the sideline, they're looking at his elbow. You've got Seumalo at left guard and Halapuli Vaitai at left tackle. Quick throw. Ertz wrapped up by Hughes. Been impressed with Mike Hughes, the rookie who's getting the start out at corner for Trey Waynes.
Yeah, I liked him coming out of college when he was going into the draft, and they have spent some picks on first rounders there in the secondary. They got 4 first-round picks in that group, and Mike Hughes, who was working more as the slot guy, and he's had to play the outside with the injury to Trey Waynes, and Zimmer, because of some of the struggles, was saying, why did I talk Terrence Newman into retiring, who had been their nickel for a number of years? Now he's on the staff, but that's impacted this group a little bit as well.
Hughes with a team high 5 tackles. Wentz, Smallwood, long way to go. And can't break that second tackle. He's to the 10. It's 4th down. And what's Doug Peterson going to do? He's going to kick it.
Yeah, I was going to say, even for Doug, I think you have to get the points. The crowd's disappointed, but in order to cut this to 14 points, still still plenty of time. But hey, give the Vikings some credit. The Eagles have gotten the ball down here a few times, and they've tightened up and haven't given up much.
The Eagles need 3 scores. They hope this is one of them. 28-yard try by Elliott. And he knocks it through to make it a 14-point game. Doug Peterson didn't want to kick it. He likes to go for it, but we got a kick. Elliott good from 28. After the field goal by Elliott, the Vikings about to get it back. 14-point game here in Philadelphia with 2:57 left on America's Game of the Week here in the 3rd quarter. Holton Hill is waiting for the kick from Elliott. And a touchback. Saturday, Minnesota is gunning for a huge upset. They take on Dwayne Haskins and the number 3 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. It all starts at noon Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. The offensive leaders, Cousins has been terrific. 22 of 28, 246, a touchdown. Stephon Diggs has run it for 25 and had a big day through the air, but the biggest belongs to Adam Thielen with his 110 yards and a touchdown. Pass is high for Thielen.
Joe, you mentioned Stephon Diggs and his 25 yards rushing. He leads the Vikings in rushing. If you take away his 25 yards, they only have run the ball for 30 yards. No one really has been able to do anything. It's like I talked about, even though they were up 17-3 at halftime, you say, well, you know, are they going to be able to run the ball? Well, they haven't been able to run the ball. And now with it still a 2-possession game and we still got plenty of time, they have. It's an unfortunate position that they're in right now, that they still have to run or throw the ball in order to move the ball.
Here's a toss to Rock Thomas. Nothing goes backward, and your point is well taken. The good teams, when they get up late, can hand the ball off, run down the clock, and win the game. And the Vikings right now have not proven they can do that.
That's right, and I agree with John DeFilippo. You have to do, you can't sit on this, so you have to do what you can do. And like we just saw, they just lost yardage running the ball, and now they've got a 3rd and long, but they can't let up. They've got to continue to play their game, and their game is Kirk Cousins.
Third down and 12. Pressure. Pass underneath. Murray survives one hit. Short of the first. Went around Rasul Douglas, but eventually help arrived. And it's a quick series and a quick 3 and out.
That's a good job by Jim Schwartz's unit. The Eagles starting to get some confidence offensively, and they've had 2 good drives, and they just got to find a way to punch it into the end zone, but forcing the punt, getting the ball back into their hands quickly, that's nice work.
And that's the first 3 and out for the Vikings all day. Comes at a good time for the Eagles. High hanging punt by Weil, and it goes backward out of bounds at the 34. So the Eagles right back to work on offense, and we'll be right back after this from Geico. It was Wentz comes back out there. He's got the crowd behind him, and he's got his 9-time Pro Bowl left tackle back in the lineup as Jason Peters returns.
Jason Peters been dealing with the quad injury, and with last week's game going into overtime, he got fatigued. He just wore down in that game against Tennessee, but boy, he's still, with him being in his 15th year, he's a big man. Boy, what a career he has had.
He's torn both Achilles tendons and an ACL last year. Missed the fun in January and February as Wentz somehow ducks through it and turns it into a positive play. That's 6'5", 237, avoiding the sack Let's go down to Erin Andrews.
Well, the Eagles are saying Jay Ajayi is questionable with a knee. He is on the sidelines trying to get back. And when you speak about running backs, Darren Sproles, who played in week 1 but has been out since then with a hammy, is one they certainly miss. VP of Football Operations Howie Roseman telling me they needed this guy to sign in the offseason. They got him to. He said, I was like Nick Saban in Alabama, going for a #1 recruit. I wanted this guy back on my team, and he wants to be back out there.
Good protection. Pass is caught by Ertz. Here comes Philadelphia.
Well, this time they were able to shore things up in the middle. That's been hard to come by for him, and yet Wentz isn't letting it impact him. He's still hanging in the pocket, looking down the field. He's not staring down the rush. Ertz, who does a really good job of being quarterback friendly and giving his guy a place to go with the football.
Smallwood left side trying to get the corner. Good run. Wendell is not a big guy, 5'10", 208, but he's good for 9. It's been a frustrating game for the home team so far, but there is life. There is hope on America's Game of the Week. They trail by 14, but they're on the move. Back after this from your local Fox station. Nobody can say that Jay Ajayi isn't tough. He's playing with a fractured transverse process in his back. That is a small fracture in his back. Aaron told us he's dealing with a knee injury now. Big fumble in this second half, and you see the total yardage is starting to even out as we wait for a 2nd and 1.
Well, they had only 91 yards at halftime. They had almost 175 there in the third quarter. 2nd and short. You know, this is a good time to take a shot if you want to take one, Doug.
Wentz keeps and slides for the first down.
Well, this is where things have gotten tough for this Eagles team down here. Not quite into the red zone, 29-yard line, but still, when you get down this close, it's what ended up costing them last week. They've had some struggles, and it's what's cost them here this afternoon.
Out of the shotgun, Wentz. Time running out. With Linval Joseph out there, who has a touchdown in this game on that 64-yard return. Joseph forces Wentz out with a 2-yard gain.
He's got a little pep in his step after scoring that touchdown. But I think the good thing when you watch Carson Wentz is he moves. I don't see anything to suggest that he's hindered at all coming off of his injury. He slides around. It certainly has been tested here in the last 3 games.
Quick throw. Aguilar out on the edge and hit from behind. Spins a yard shy of a first down. Let's get a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, after getting 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, the Rams took 3 chances, but they just kept running Todd Gurley. The 3rd time was the charm. He ties the game with his 2nd score of the contest. Joe, Troy, Aaron, and Mike.
And we will return Mike to you at some point. Until then, he's ours. 3rd down and 1 here.
Oh, yeah, that was a perfect call by Doug Peterson. The Vikings brought pressure, and Smallwood didn't help his quarterback out at all. Wentz took a pretty good hit once again.
3rd down and 1. Play action. And this one is just floated out of bounds. It's 4th down, and history tells you Doug Peterson will go for it, and he will.
I think that was his thinking all along, Joe. He knew once they got down here when it was 3rd and short that they were going to see if they could maybe get a shot, and knowing that they could come back to a call that he feels good about here on 4th and 1. Tell you, I know that they replaced Stefan Wisniewski with Isaac Seumalo, but he's given up a lot of pressures, and he did again on that last play.
Play clock is at 5. Peterson on the sideline called timeout.
That's not good execution. When you're looking at a game like this, you're down 14 points and you got to burn a timeout. That'll come back to haunt him here as this game unfolds.
Talked about that hit that Carson Wentz took a moment ago on the throw to Aguilar. Here it is.
That's Sheldon Richardson, or excuse me, that was on the second down call when he got it out.
And then this 3rd down and 1 play, I guess you can say it was in the direction of Zach Ertz, but there was just nothing out there.
Nothing there. Well played by the Vikings. So even though that here in this second half, like I said, the 3rd quarter was good, really good for the Eagles in getting some momentum offensively, but they just have been unable to cash in, and now obviously a big 4th down right here with under 13 minutes to play.
This is the 5th time in this game the Eagles have been on the Vikings side of the 50, and they have 6 points so far to show for the first 4 trips into Minnesota territory. 4th down and 1. Pass is caught. Jeffrey, his 2nd of the game, and a big one to keep the football.
Boy, I'll say, because this is good coverage by Xavier Rhodes, and that ball was on a rope. And you've got to have some pretty good agility to come out of that and make a play with that ball coming the way that it was. That's a great job. I was looking to see if the ball was moving or what happened, but he secured the catch. That's great execution between those two. You don't think they've missed Alshon Jeffrey when they started this season?
A guy with 9 career touchdowns against the Vikings, former Chicago Bear. His 2nd game back. And this one in his direction incomplete. Little did we know that Alshon was playing with a torn rotator cuff all of last year. He got it operated on at the end of the season, and it took him through the first couple of games this year to get medical clearance to get back on the field. And coming off his best game, his first 100-yard game as an Eagle last week. Second and 10. Smallwood, touchdown, Philadelphia. The officials get together. The signal was touchdown, but then another official ran over, and so they talk about it. Harrison Smith got on the ball when it popped out at the end, but let's take another look. Here's the call.
On the field is a touchdown.
You can see the wheel route here by Smallwood, and Eric Kendricks, number 54, he has to be the one in coverage. He takes a flat angle. He's expecting maybe a flat route. He's not anticipating that Smallwood is going to take it up the sideline, and so he gets a step on him, and really a nice throw by Carson Wentz for the touchdown.
Well, Mike Pereira, they'll look at this because it's a scoring play, but a change from a year ago. A catch, 2 feet, the ability to make another football act. What do you think? I think catch.
Well, I think what you take a look at, I'm trying to put it into the criteria. So you have to get actually control, 2 feet, and a football move. One of the things they say is turning upfield. So, in fact, he doesn't get 3 feet down. That's one of the categories. But did he turn upfield, which it looks to me like he did?
I agree, Mike. And you know, he has the catch, 2 feet, football move. And I thought when he turned, I agree with you and obviously that's what they are saying.
How about this? Doug Peterson's going to go for 2 here to make it a 6-point game.
Yeah, I don't like this.
They're 1 for 1 on 2-point conversions. Here's a toss to the edge. Smallwood got it. 6-point game. He's not scared, Doug Peterson. Great effort by Wendell Smallwood. 20-14 Minnesota. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Interesting call at the end of that possession by Doug Peterson to go for 2. I guess when you're leading in a Super Bowl and you do the Philly thing and you add to your lead against the Patriots, you can do anything you want. And instead of just kicking the extra point to make it a 7-point game, he goes for 2 and makes it. It's a 6-point game.
Yeah, and it took a great effort by Wendell Smallwood to convert on that 2 points because he was tackled. Sendejo misses the tackle, or Smallwood breaks it. But when you take a look, here's the 4th and short that they convert on with Alshon Jeffrey. He makes these catches look routine. That was outstanding work and body control. They come back to Smallwood for the touchdown when they get him one-on-one on Eric Kendricks. But the 2-pointer, Sendejo right there, had a chance to make the play, and they hit the pylon. Once it hits the pylon, it's good for 2. And Mike Trout, he likes what he's saying, a big Eagles fan.
Yeah, season ticket holder from Millville, New Jersey, loving it. His Eagles are coming back from the 25. Vikings will run it. Latavius Murray with a gain of 3.
Yeah, that's the Vikings' first run on first down in this second half, Joe. So they had only run it 29% of the time coming into the game on first down, but in the first half they ran it a fair amount on 1st and 10. Then they'd gotten to where they were throwing the ball with the game on the line, trying to take some time off the clock. Not a bad gain, 3 yards, but they're going to have a hard time just dominating the line of scrimmage to keep up with that.
Second down and 7. Cousins play action, wide open. Diggs, what a catch! Stefon Diggs just caught up to the football on his way out of bounds for 13 yards. Wow.
Well, they secured Fletcher Cox, but they forgot about a couple other guys who met Kirk Cousins in the pocket. He had to just lay this out knowing he was going to get hit. The move at the top, that's where Diggs is impossible to defense. And once he is able to get to the top of the route and stick, he's so quick coming out of the breaks, wide open.
Crowd reacts. They show that replay on the scoreboard, and there'll be a challenge by Doug Peterson to see if Diggs got both feet down. Catch, right foot, left foot. Looks good to us. We'll get the call when we come back. Well, this one was not a good challenge. Diggs takes 3 steps inbounds. And Doug Peterson knew it, and he's going to be down to 1 timeout. They confirmed the call, and that was an easy one. The crowd reacted, may have helped push Doug Peterson into a challenge, but that could be costly. First down, Minnesota. Only their 3rd first down of this half. Murray got 1. Play made by Leroy Reynolds.
It's a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins. You know, when you don't have any kind of running game at all, and you just have to rely on your ability to get the ball out. Remember, going back to when they started this game, they anticipated having trouble running the ball against this defensive front. A lot of quick passes, a lot of wide receiver screens, use it as an extension of the running game. And, of course, here 2nd and long, but I think we'd start to see more of that as they start trying to wind the clock down.
Rock Thomas back there next to Cousins. This is dropped. Was it a forward pass? Might be live. If it's a lateral, it's a live ball.
I think it is, Joe.
And it belongs to Philly. It's a turnover, so it will be looked at. And Nigel Bradham is at the bottom of that pile with a football.
Let's take a look at it. You see where Cousins is, where he throws it, and that's clearly behind Cousins, a backwards lateral. smart job here by the Eagles jumping on that ball. A lot of times you'll see this, the ball hits the ground and defenders just stop, but that's outstanding work by Nigel Bradham going after it and then securing it once it was on the ground.
So the rookie couldn't make the catch. And for the Eagles, that's their first takeaway of the day. It's their 5th of the season. That's it. As they're playing in their 5th game, but man, is that huge. They had 31 takeaways a year ago, 4th most across the league. Down by 6.
Well, you're without Dalvin Cook, Joe, and you're relying on some young players. You've got Latavius Murray and then some other guys, and it's tough on the young man.
Hey, let's go, Lexus Jedi, Yellow Jedi, Yellow Jedi, Yellow Jedi. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Let's see what Yellow Jedi produces. Flag is down. There's yellow on the flag, and Ajayi is down inside the 25. Gain of 6 for the moment.
Illegal formation on the offense. Wide receiver covered up the tight end. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's the second time that's been called against Philadelphia in this game. And let's go back to the lateral.
Yeah, and what would be interesting to know is if this was intended, and I can't imagine it was intended to be. It's a running back screen, but was it intended to be thrown as a backwards lateral? That's the question. The ball's coming out quick. Was Rock Thomas, was he too deep on his release? Should he have been flatter? But he simply dropped the ball. But by design, it's a live ball, and that's the unfortunate part of it.
Wentz, little push off, no flag, incomplete to Jeffrey. Working against Rhodes.
Yeah, Rhodes has been working against Jeffrey throughout this game, and in Rhodes this season, he typically does. He goes with the #1 receiver, and last week he had Brandon Cooks, and that's a tough assignment. Devontae Adams with Green Bay and Kelvin Benjamin, and now he's got Alshon Jeffrey, and that's a pretty good matchup between those two.
That's life as a 2017 All-Pro for Xavier Rhodes.
A free play.
Looked like Vikings came across, and they're going to blow it dead. Instead of a free play with players bearing down.
Neutral zone infraction, number 91 defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Mike Pereira, the reason they do this falls into the category of protection as well. Instead of a free play with guys coming after Carson Wentz, they just blow it dead.
And exactly, and they were told that this week, Joe, that if he gets across the neutral zone to go ahead and shut the thing down, that they would rather them lean to shutting it down versus letting the quarterback be susceptible to a hit.
It was Weatherly who's made an impact, forced the fumble that led to the touchdown return by Joseph in the first half. They came across. Eagles get that 5 yards back as Wentz gets the ball out. There are no whistles on the field. The officials come together, and now finally Walt Coleman says incomplete. Well, these two officials came together, and there was some indecision, to say the least. And now they throw a flag. Let's take a look.
Intentional grounding, number 11, offense. 10-yard penalty, loss of down, third down.
Mike Pereira, does that look, I know it's left-handed, but does that look like a forward pass?
Joe, yeah, I do think it is. And yes, intentional grounding, just from the standpoint alone, is that he's already been wrapped up. So he's starting to throw the ball. It's on his own. He's responsible for it. And they're still going to talk about it. But that would put it into the category of intentional grounding.
But saying not a fumble.
9:23, please.
And they're going to add more time to the clock. And Troy, that was Danielle Hunter who was draped all over Carson Wentz.
Danielle Hunter and Stephen Weatherly were both back there on him. I mean, that's obviously he's going to get sacked if he doesn't try to get the ball out. So the penalty in and of itself was nothing. But right now they are in Jake Elliott's range. And if you're Carson Wentz, yeah, if you got a shot and you can pick up the first down, great. But otherwise, just complete the pass, can't take a sack here, and try to help Elliott on a field goal attempt if they're unable to convert.
3rd down and 20. Over the middle, Jeffrey can't hang on, and it's incomplete. And you're looking at a 58-yard try from this spot. If Doug Peterson goes that route, it's 4th down. Big hit by Harrison Smith.
Yeah, big hit. They played zone coverage there, and that might have been Carson Wentz's best throw.
Right now, Doug Peterson's keeping his offense out there. Elliott has hit from 61. And a timeout's taken on the other side defensively by the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Zim's sitting there thinking, what the heck is going on here?
And it's inside the field goal range for Jake Elliott. And the irony of it all is because of that kind of head-scratching 2-point conversion that Doug Peterson went for a moment ago, a good field goal makes this a 3-point game. I'm really interested to see what the Eagles do here after the timeout.
Well, I am too. I mean, at 4th and 20, it's I think everybody. Of course, it looks like maybe Jake Elliott might be kind of warming up the leg and give it a shot. We've seen when he hit the 61-yarder last year. So he's done it before, and he's done it in some pretty critical situations. But yeah, I don't. 4th and 20, the odds of converting this next to nothing.
They need the Freddie Mitchell play. It was good on 4th and 26 here against Green Bay. Instead of trying to draw them offside, it's not going to work. And they're just going to punt it. So passing on the 58-yard try is Doug Peterson. They'll punt. Here's Kurt with a game break.
Well, good news and bad news for the Rams at Seattle. This is Todd Gurley's 3rd rushing touchdown of the day, but they missed the extra point, and to make things worse, both Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp are out for the rest of the game with concussions. Seattle leads it 31-30 in the 4th. Joe?
All right, Kurt, thanks. And now there's more indecision by the Eagles, or somebody. I guess Ertz wasn't out there for the punt. I mean, this has been kind of a head-scratching series of events here, and not getting the 5-yard penalty, I think, cemented in Doug Peterson's mind he wouldn't go for it, or the field goal.
Well, I knew they couldn't use the timeout. I mean, when they're out there, surely they're not going to burn a timeout and put the field goal team out there, but we'll see.
Vikings get it back up 6. Well, Doug Peterson, Troy, has to like what he sees out of his defense right now. Why not? Instead of trying a 58-yarder. We were here when Jake Elliott hit from 61 to the other end of the field to beat the Giants last year. He punts it away, and the Vikings take over at their 11. Up by 6. Cousins finds Rudolph to the 14.
I think what went into that decision, Joe, to punt is Jake Elliott on the year. He's 0 for 2 from 40 yards or more, and knowing that you're giving up a lot of field position if you miss that kick. And I think he was trying to draw the Vikings off sides, pick up 5 more yards, and I think had he have been able to do that, he probably then takes a chance, even though, as I said, he's missed from 40 or more twice. But the way the defense has played, this is the odds are more in his favor doing it the way he's doing it.
2nd and 7, and a big run by Latavius Murray for a first down. And just as a final note about Elliott, he is 5 for 7 in his career at 50 or more yards. But he stayed put, continues to try to stay loose with 8 minutes to go.
Kirk Cousins, he's got He's pretty happy about that, on saying, hey, we got a first down without me having to throw the ball.
Murray, 8 carries, 32 yards. Gets it again. And a nice gain on first down of 5.
Sure was. Boy, if they can do that, they'll keep doing that all the way down the field. A couple good runs.
John DeFilippo going through the plays on the call sheet, and once he got dialed up on 2nd and 5.
We talked about him as a quarterback coach the last 2 years in Philadelphia. He grew up here in Philadelphia, as you said, with his dad being the AD in Villanova, and he's at home right here in this area. I think he's really done a nice job for this Vikings offense. Pat Shurmur certainly did when then he went on to the Giants head coach, but DeFilippo has been awfully good.
Pressure. Cousins somehow finds Thielen. Cousins ends up on the ground, but Thielen's got enough for a Viking first down with 7:03 left.
And that's why when you boot to the quarterback's right if he's right-handed, so you can get the ball out quickly. If this is to the left, you have no chance. And so he comes around. You have to anticipate the defensive end getting up the field. Brandon Graham is there, and Thielen, who's able to get open. That's a sigh of relief by Kirk Cousins, but that's good work on his part with great anticipation on the play and getting the ball out.
Good hit on the end of it by Graham. Thielen now 7 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Handoff is to Murray. Remember, the Eagles with the challenge and an early timeout in this second half. They have only 1 left.
Well, I don't know if we're at that point yet, Joe, with 6 minutes to play, but whether you're a great defense or you want to claim to be a great offense, whatever it is, it's in these moments when you step up and you make plays. It's a 1-possession game. If the Eagles are the defense that they want to be or that they think they are, then they make a stop and they don't relinquish any points on this drive.
Good protection. Nowhere to go until now with Murray. And Latavius Murray is knocked down half a yard short of a first down by Fletcher Cox.
That's a bad missed tackle by Sidney Jones as a corner, and he has a chance to make a play and not make this as short as it is. You're going to see as Kirk Cousins comes out, Latavius Murray with the ball, and Sidney Jones just whiffs. And it's Fletcher Cox, being the all-pro that he is, who runs him down.
The Vikings do not have a successful third down conversion this half. They need one here. A full yard. Cousins keeps, flips, Rudolph with a catch, and is out of bounds at the 39. Camus Grugier-Hill knocked him out as it looked like the left foot of Rudolph hit the boundary, but a gain of 17.
Watch Rudolph. He has to work through the line as they go play action. He's got to fight through all that mess, and then he gets lost. And Eric Kendricks, who appeared to be the one responsible for him, is not able to stay with him as he gets lost in the congestion and wide open for the first down.
It was the right foot that hit out at the 39. Vikings are already at the edge, outer edge of field goal range for Bailey. I don't know that there's a lot of confidence there from Mike Zimmer. Here's Latavius Murray.
I think you're right.
Gain of 2. Thursday night, the Eagles are right back at it. And they are on the road to take on their division rival, the New York Giants. A heartbreaking loss for the Giants today in Carolina. And it's all right here on Fox. Starts at 7:30 Eastern on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video.
I'm looking forward to that matchup regardless of what happens here. You're right. The Giants, who went into Carolina, gave them a game.
Beaten by a 63-yard field goal at the end of regulation. Here's Diggs. What a catch, but a good tackle out on the edge by Malcolm Jenkins.
Well, I understand what Kirk Cousins was doing there. That was a running play, and the corner was so soft that he's just saying, hey, I can get this ball thrown out immediately. And it was like you said, it was a heck of a catch. and the Eagles recovered. It sure didn't look like they would. Darby was running out, but then you got Malcolm Jenkins, who is trying to fly underneath that. He's the underneath coverage, makes a good open field tackle.
3rd down and 7. Pass is caught. Diggs short of the 1st down. Dragged down by Darby. And Doug Peterson will use his final timeout with 2:51 to go, and there's a player down in the secondary. With 2 being the second number, it's either Jones or Douglas, and it's Sidney Jones. Covering Aldrick Robinson.
They just got tangled up as Robinson was coming off the line of scrimmage, and now this will give Dan Bailey a little bit more time to think about this kick.
Remember, Sidney Jones was a guy who was projected as a high 1st-round pick when he came out of Washington a year ago, but a torn Achilles dropped him down to the 2nd round, and the Eagles took a chance, let him develop, and that looked ugly. He did a somersault right after something went bad on that left leg. And that means that with the timeout and the injury, Dan Bailey has more time to think about what's been a rough day. He's 2 out of 4. He's missed from 28. And he's missed from 45. This would be a 52-yard try. And good to see Sidney able to get up and walk off the field under his own power.
Well, this is well within his range. His longest is just 56 yards, but he could probably make it from 70. I mean, he's got a strong leg, but the distance has not been the issue.
Kick is good. And that's all Mike Zimmer will think about if the Vikings end up getting a win here in Philadelphia, as the longtime Dallas Cowboy pays a visit to his former division rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, and hits from 52.
Well, that was a clutch kick. It's a kick that he's made many, many times throughout his career, and it will make, as you said, Mike Zimmer forget about a couple of those misses. And now this defense, of course, with a 2-possession lead, will go out and see if they can't make a stop.
Bailey is now 28 of 41 in his career from 50 or more, and he's able to exhale and smile at the end of a huge field goal to lead by 9. Clutch kick at the end of a clutch drive. 11 plays, 55 yards, and almost 6.5 minutes off the clock.
And you just wonder if Carson Wentz is going to have enough time in the pocket to deliver the football and get some of the chunks that he's going to need to get.
He's been under pressure all day. Hit a lot. And there's the big one. It went down as a fumble and a return of 64 yards by Linval Joseph, forced by Stephen Weatherly.
Yeah, and give Kirk Cousins and that offense and John DeFilippo credit. You know, like I talked about, you have a 1-possession lead, and you have the ability with the ball in your hands to take time off the clock and extend that to 2 possessions, and they were able to do it. The Eagles were not able to make a stop. They got the running game going a little bit more than they had, and it was good execution on their part.
80 up front, 80 up front. 120. What's this up?
Wentz will fall forward for an Eagles first down. We'll give you bonus coverage eventually of this good one in Seattle. 31-30 Seahawks over the Rams at the moment. Passes to the tight end Ertz for another first down.
We talked about some of those timeouts that were lost. This is where they would come in handy.
One of them coming on a bad challenge, trying to get the play off before the 2-minute warning, and they do. Matthews has his first catch of the day.
Not smart on his part. The 2-minute warning was coming up. Go get as much yardage as you can.
Instead out of bounds with 1:58 to go, and the Eagles trailing by 9. Vikings trying to win here on America's Game of the Week the way they won during the regular season last year, when defensively they allowed less than 16 points a game. It's been a different story so far this season, but a good effort here today. 2nd down and 6. A glimmer of hope left for the Eagles. There's Ertz all alone in the middle of the field to the 30.
Well, the Vikings are only rushing 4. They got 7 guys really deep, and they're giving up those throws. So they need 2 possessions. It's a 2-possession game, and you wonder at what point do they decide we're going to go for the field goal, onside kick, and all that. But they're giving up everything in the middle of the field.
There's another one, Ertz left alone, and he's going to slide to the 15.
That's smart. You hear Wentz saying clock, clock, stop the clock, and then give yourself a chance to take a shot into the end zone and preserve some time.
And you can hear Wentz saying you want to kick it. So he's thinking along the lines with you. At some point that decision becomes very real for Doug Peterson.
I think so. I think you take a shot here and try to score, and if not, then you start thinking very seriously about kicking right away. And either way, you're going to have to get the onside kick.
Hey, we gotta go 81.
Time's running out, and you heard him. They may not get this off.
Just do. Here's one to the end zone and broken up. And a flag is thrown in the end zone where Ertz came down.
They're going to call hit on a defenseless receiver based on that's Sendejo. He's been called a few times.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. 34 of the defense, half the distance to the goal. First down.
You know, he leads with the helmet, Joe. It's a helmet-to-helmet contact right there, and you know, like I said, he's been fined. He's been suspended. They've called him for this, but when you lead with the helmet, like we've talked about, doesn't matter if it's helmet to helmet or into the back or wherever it is, it's a penalty. And now
it's 1st and goal from the 7. Coming up, the OT presented by Lowe's. Let's see what the Eagles can do here. Either way, they're going to need a successful onside kick. End zone, and what a catch by Zach Ertz. Touchdown, Eagles. With 1:09 to go.
Mike Hughes, the rookie, number 21, is in coverage on Ertz, and that's good coverage. I mean, I don't know what more he can do. It's just a perfectly thrown ball, and the adjustment that Ertz makes going up for it, it gives him a high ball, and it's a great catch, and it's outstanding ball placement by Carson Wentz. And this game just got a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah, big extra point here to make it a 2-point game. Eagles just went 75 yards in 98 seconds to have hope. Just sneaks it in. Beautiful throw from Carson Wentz.
Well, he was able to have some time that in the pocket, and he goes to the guy who he has total confidence and trust in. He's made a lot of plays like this over his career, and he's made them for Carson Wentz. He went to him on both of those last 2 throws when they were taking the shots into the end zone, and Ertz comes down with that one. That's big time.
Well, if you're wondering about the upcoming onside kick, Jake Elliott in his young career, it's his 2nd year, is 1 for 1 on onside kicks. And he'll need one to be successful here to have a chance to go down and win it.
Yeah, and then you look at this onside kick, and the rules have changed as to how you can align these guys. There's got to be 5 guys on each side of the kicker, and 2 have to be outside the numbers. So you've got the 2 here and you've got the 2 here, and used to you could overload a side and do all kinds of things, but they've made it a little more challenging for these teams that are trying to recover an onside kick.
It all comes down to this live football. And the Vikings have it. It looked like Adam Thielen had the best shot at it for Minnesota. They've already said Viking football. It was an early call, and it belongs to Thielen. He's done everything.
He does it all, doesn't he? Tell you, this is not easy to do with the ball bouncing like that, trying to secure it, and Thielen doesn't get on it right away, but he goes right for it. That's an outstanding job, almost like a shortstop, just keeping the ball in front of him, and makes a play and then smothers it.
Of all the players you and I have had a chance to meet over the years, Thielen is right toward the top of the list as far as a guy that was overlooked. You know, you said, what was the knock on you coming out of college? You said, I had no knock. Nobody even looked at me.
That's right. I mean, the guy's, well, he runs a 4.40 or something. Normally, if you have that kind of speed, you know, somebody is drafting you, and you're right. He said, there was no knock on me. Shoot, nobody would offer him anything.
Born in Minnesota, went to college in Minnesota, plays for the Vikings, and has another 100-yard game, and the first in the history of the league to have 5 straight 100-yard receiving games to start a season. The Eagles made it close, a 2-point game, but 1 more snap, and that's it. And the Vikings will move to 2-2-1, and the Eagles, who would still be my pick in the NFC East, will go to 2-3. But Thielen did everything he could. And a hard-fought win here on the road in Philadelphia. 23-21 is the final. And a brief meeting between Mike Zimmer and Doug Peterson. We'll be back after this. Vikings back at 500.